It's a weird experience, okay, and it's a sad experience, and I just hope nobody else has to go through it. Yeah.
What's the stereotypical, cliched description of why we love music so much? It's that it brings people together, right? But cliches become cliches because they hit the nail on the head. And that power in music, bringing people together, goes for its songwriters, too.
I remember writing that song. I was staying over at Chris Cornell's house. They had a little guest room at their place out in West Seattle. I remember I stayed up all night, may even have taken acid or whatever that night.
It was 1992, and Alice in Chains were slowly gaining traction outside of their native Seattle. Guitarist Jerry Cantrell was maturing and reflecting on a lot of anger he held from his childhood.
And I was thinking about my dad, you know. My folks got divorced when I was pretty young, and so my dad wasn't a big part of my teen years. He was a badass and a hard ass, you know. He was a Army sergeant, so, you know, but I didn't see a whole lot of him. So my mother had passed, he was my only parent left, and as I became a man, I started to realize that, you know, I can't be mad at him for like kid shit, you know, like every kid's mad at their dad for something.
Jerry began looking at things from his father's perspective and wondering what made him become this abrasive, hard-ass, no-nonsense type figure.
I started trying to think about putting myself in his shoes and, like, you know, what he'd been through in his life and you know, multiple tours of Nam.
Wife and kids and household pet. Army green was no safe bet.
Just where he came from and things that he had to deal with.
The bullets scream to me from somewhere.
And I started asking myself, you know, would I have done any better? You know, could I have done any better? And I couldn't say yes.
Overcome with this new empathy, Jerry couldn't help but start writing. He didn't know a lot about his father's experience in the war, so he used his imagination. The starting point was one fact he did know, and that was his father's nickname in the Army, Rooster. It was first given to him as a kid by his grandfather because of his cocky attitude and how his hair used to stick up. The nickname stayed with him and coincidentally was also a common nickname for M16 machine gunners in Vietnam because the muzzle flashes looked like a rooster's tail. In the song, Jerry paints the picture of his father just trying to stay alive in the jungle of Vietnam. The first line sucks you in to the general feeling of the track.
Ain't found a way to kill me yet.
With just a few more lines, you empathize with Jerry's father, stuck in this war with a new wife and a young family he's thinking of, and the general public in America despising everything he's there for.
Walking tall machine gun man, they spit on me in my homeland. Gloria, send me pictures of my boy.
But I was always really curious about his experience, and it was something he never talked about. And they don't want to bring that shit up. You know, it's something that they put away. He had issues that he was working through, you know, from his experience and all of that, and that affected us.
My buddy's breathing his dying breath. Oh God, please, won't you help me make it through?
Mark Pellington of Pearl Jam fame directed the powerful music video for Rooster. Part of the video was Mark interviewing Jerry's father about his experience in the war.
I actually went out of the room, and he was interviewing my dad about it, and it's one of the only times he's talked at length about it, and it brought him to tears. I remember asking him if I'd gotten close to the vibe, you know, of being there, and he's like, you got too close.
Released as the fourth single on Alice in Chains' breakout 1992 album, Dirt, Rooster has remained one of the band's most enduring and recognizable songs.
This is what is going to survive in 100 years.
It just doesn't make people happy.
Makes me happy. I can dance to it.
Part of the reason Rooster has had a lasting effect is that it's not forcing you to pick a side. It's not pro-war, it's not anti-war, it's simply relaying the experience of a soldier. Jerry showed the lyrics to his father after it was done and said it was one of the most proud moments of his musical career. They've been close ever since, with Jerry saying that music connected them deeper than any conversation could. And despite the fact that it struck a universal chord amongst military vets, Rooster's greatest triumph may be how it healed a fractured relationship between a father and son.